right, so heading over to MLB, y'all know what it is on Thursday. It is the opening day of the MLB season. I know what you're thinking. Listen, the last time I heard about MLB, they couldn't even come up to an agreement what they was gonna do. Well, that's old news. That's water under the bridge, and we ready to, do what they say, play ball. Thursday, I think a game that's gonna stick out to most people on Thursday on opening day. You got the Red Sox playing the Yankees. I seen a few other ones that caught my eyes. You had the Reds versus the Braves, the Mets versus the Nationals, et cetera, what have you. With that said, Jay, hey man, America's favorite pastime. We'll get it cracking on Thursday. What you more interested in watching and looking at in this opening weekend?
I'm first off, not much to do with, well, somewhat to do with the opening of baseball, but if you these athletic power rankings are really entertaining to read. I think they a lot better than the ones ESPN has.
They damn near
the athletic put a little. Yeah, but like when you read the little explanation, I feel like athletic, they put a little more sauce on it than ESPN does. That kind of that little nugget from the Yankees, little tidbit. Yeah, I had a few good predictions, back in November, but they got 10 names listed and they all crossed off because none of them went over there. So man, these are good. I might have to. I got a 6 months subscription for like $1 a month. Might have to extend it because it's pretty good. I'm thinking about like.
Nice plug for that athletic.
I'm giving them some valuable airtime right now. Hope they appreciate it. But I think I'm gonna soft cancel it and see if I can, flop my way into, some maybe another 3 months of, soft fees. But anyway, I think the American League East is kind of the first thing that comes to mind because in both power rankings, they're giving the Toronto Blue Jays a lot of love and probably rightfully so. They brought in. What they bring in? They brought in Marcus Semien. They brought in Robbie Ray, some big free agent additions. Of course, George Springer's still around. And then, Vladimir Guerrero, Bo Bichette. They're going to be high-powered offensively. Also, Matt Chapman, a guy we talked about a couple weeks ago, I believe. Kevin Gausman coming in. I mean, these guys did a lot, in the offseason when, it appeared baseball didn't have its act together. We over here negotiating, all the way through, March 31st, wondering when we're going to play baseball. But then you look, Toronto's had some talent the past couple of years, but they always seem to can't put it together and get over the Red Sox, the Yankees, and Tampa Bay. You can't discount Tampa Bay because Kevin Cash seemingly has them in it to win it year in and year out now. You can't even though they ain't got no payroll, but what payroll they do have, they put it out there and they maximize it every single year. So the AL East, I think, is going to be highly competitive. And of course, we got expanded playoffs, so it'd be interesting to see if all four of those teams can slide in somehow, some way. I know one thing: when they play each other, they're gonna be beating up on each other. It's gonna be like them SEC football teams. Like, man, we can't. Everybody holding all these L's because they just playing each other. Somebody gotta lose. Right. One thing is for sure: Baltimore are gonna hold all the L's. They got them dead last in these power rankings. I don't even know why you go. I don't even know who plays for them at all now. Yeah, by the way, I got to go in there and download MLB The Show afterwards and figure this out because who some of these people are because I don't know them. And then outside of that. The Dodgers obviously come to mind. We know that they seemingly, in the past, I feel like 5-6 years, they've turned up the heat as far as going after all these, the biggest and the brightest of the free agents. They pulled over Freddie Freeman in the offseason. They're still going to have, an offense locked and loaded. We talked about A.J. Pollock getting dealt over to, I think it was the White Sox. They brought Craig Kimbrell in to solidify the back end of the bullpen. And then, people are like, oh, man, they lost A.J. Pollock. They're like, well, A.J. Pollock, that's okay. He was batting ninth in this lineup. So probably going to be okay. He's still going to score a lot of runs with Bellinger and Betts and Max Muncy, and the list goes on and on. And then defending champion Atlanta, we know they lost Freddie Freeman. You bring in Matt Olson. You got all Ozzy Albies, Ronald Acuna coming back. That's only going to make them that much better. And they also brought in the Dodgers' old closer, Kenley Jansen. So I think, Brave Dodger games ought to be pretty interesting with Kenley Jansen playing his old team, Freddie Freeman playing his old team. That's something to look forward to. I think, look, Chicago, we've been talking about Chicago a little bit the past couple of years. They've been making some great steps in each offseason, getting a little bit better. I don't think that division is very good, the American League Central. I don't think, Kansas City is not very good. Cleveland's kind of, out here just playing around, not quite sure what they're going to do. Minnesota got Carlos Correa, but I'm still wondering, is that enough? Did you do enough to do something? I'm not sure. And I think Detroit, if I had to put, kind of a team that's kind of, sleepwalking a little bit, and, you're probably not thinking about them because they've been pretty bad lately. I think Detroit's kind of worth, watching. They made some upgrades here. AJ Hinch running the team now. The old Houston manager. So I think Detroit with some of the moves they made, Austin Meadows, the most recent move they made, I think they're worth watching. And I think, I'm not sure they're ready to challenge for a wild card spot just yet. But I think they're a team definitely, capable of surprising some people. The rest of the NL West too, outside the Dodgers. San Francisco, I'm not sure about San Francisco because they came out of nowhere last year. And then it's kind of hard to imagine, can you replicate what you did last year? Especially, we know how great Buster Posey was for them behind the plate. He's retired now, so you're going to lose a lot of juice from that retirement. San Diego, to me, is the team out west who you feel like, are you ever can you put this together? You're obviously very talented. You've been making moves. You got good you got good starting pitching. But what we going to do? And then you got Fernando Tatis. I don't even know what he's doing. He's in the news he out here breaking ankles, doing surfing, playing. I don't even know what he's doing, but he's injured for something that ain't got nothing to do with baseball. So you're worried about the investment you put in on that young man. 30 teams playing 162 games. Stay here all day and talk about this. I don't want to because that take too long. We got to get things moving. But there's a lot of storylines. I think, front and center, I think it's the American League West, American League East, with how competitive that division can be, with Toronto looking like maybe they look like the preseason favorites. But even with that, you'd be a fool to count out Boston, New York, and Tampa. They're all going to be in there. That's going to be probably the division to watch. And look, I know people out here crying. They still crying about these signs. Don't forget about Houston. Houston's still going to be in there. I don't think, Seattle, I think they're an up-and-coming team. Texas spent a lot of money. And, of course, the Angels, they got two of the biggest and brightest stars. But I'm still thinking, I still don't think those teams are better than Houston right now. Houston still, I think, is the favorite in that division. Keep an eye on them. And obviously, they ain't got to worry about Oakland because I think Oakland just sitting this year out. They taking a year off. They need to, redo the portfolio, get the finances in order. Somebody came out there and gave them an audit. Don't even worry about them. But, those are my frontline thoughts on the season.
All right, so Jake, before you move on, do you mind rattling off the top 10 from the Athletic? Who they got?
The top 10?
Yeah,
the top 10 from the Athletic. You've got the Dodgers, you got Toronto, you got the defending champs, the Braves, the White Sox, the Rays, Houston out there at 6th, and Milwaukee is 7th, the Yankees 8th, the Mets 9th. That seems a little bit high, especially there are always some cracks in that pitching staff. I think DeGrom's already out a month for something. Scherzer with a hamstring, and then they got the Giants 10th. So I'm not. Yeah, I would automatically put Boston probably ahead of both those teams.
Okay, so the reason I want to do that because I just want to give a little color to the listeners and the watchers. So that was the Athletic. Now ESPN top power rankings, if you have ESPN Plus, because they had to put it behind a paywall. If you have that, the way they top 10 goes: Dodgers, Blue Jays, Braves, White Sox, Astros, Yankees, Brewers, Mets, Rays, Giants. So ESPN got the Mets at number 8. So if you was outraged by 9, I can only imagine how you feel about number 8. So with that said, for me, it's simple as this. The biggest takeaway is the fact that we're going to play games on Thursday. At the end of the day, the MLB and the MLBPA finally got their act together. And now I think the CBA is good for a while now. So I don't think we should be revisiting this issue for a little while. Now we're back in rotation. We're back in normal mode, people. And I hope I don't jinx. You know, the last time I had to hear about like some real deal COVID information, hell, we ain't did a COVID subject in a while. It seems like we're getting back to a little normalcy. I don't want to say it too loud, but now
don't say it too loud. You know, Fauci will hear you. Just shut it down.
Right. Actually, you know what I'm saying? I haven't worn a mask in quite a while. So it's the only time I had to wear this for my kids. So it seems like we're getting somewhere here, folks. And the reason I bring that up now with baseball is because I feel like baseball, of all the sports, they was kind of the ones that was kind of last coming in. Now they seem to be looking somewhat or getting back to normalcy. So once baseball stick their flag in the ground per se, I think all is well. I think we're on the road to a better future, I say, a maskless future, and hopefully the minimization of COVID-19. But with all that said, man, I'm glad to see what some people in the world call stickball return. Shouts out to Rob Manfred for making this happen. Shouts out to the I don't know who the president is for the Players Association, but they don't even matter because shouts out to him for doing his job as well. Folks, Thursday is opening day, and the top of the slate, we got the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox coming to you.